Friends, how are you doing? Good morning. Let's talk about SoFi, talk about Robinhood. Obviously, big day today because Robinhood is going to be releasing quarterlies, and I spoke on this recently where I talked about, for Robinhood to really keep these prices up, it's gonna have to start making up some money here. It's gonna have to really come with money here, or there's going to be a really good excuse, which there is, for them to run this high. They've had a really good year, announced a lot of good things they're doing. There's a lot of excitement around, and this is not a bearish conversation, so don't think I'm like going into like start hitting it over the head or anything, because I'm not. I'm fully in belief that Robinhood is going to be an amazing company year after year as it keeps going here. That obviously will have its moments of looking for more, but I think all in all, we're obviously watching the workings of a staple company into the next generation for investors here. So with that, tomorrow's earnings afternoon, and I'm talking about SoFi too. I think this is going to be what it is for the next 10 years. We're going to be, comparing, contrasting, Robinhood and SoFi here. But I do think with the market, obviously being trash yesterday, yesterday's market was wild, to say. I mean, Monday, Palantir released quarterlies. They were exceptional. I mean, they were unbelievable. AMD released quarterlies. Amazing, just amazing. And then the market was still selling off. Obviously, Michael Burry was, going against the grain, saying, "Hey, Nvidia, Palantir, way too expensive. I'm betting against it. That the price will fall." Well, that put this dark cloud over those two stocks, and how long is that dark cloud going to stay there? I don't know. We'll see that. We've seen Michael do that before. He's done that with Tesla in the past. So, I don't know. I think Palantir, especially Palantir, because there's a lot more meat on the bone that what could happen here. I think Palantir will continue just to rise in price whenever it gets out of this slump of generally the market. It's really the market's down right now, but that with Michael yesterday was like an added so. The market obviously selling off. Goldman Sachs came out, said some stuff against the market, like, hey, we've seen this before. Like, if you've been in the market this year, this is nothing new. We've seen this episode. It's played out before, and every time, I don't really want to like put this out there in the sense of like, hey, put everything in the market right now. That's not really what I'm trying to say. But what I am saying is every time we have been here in these moments in the market where we've seen dramatic sell-off, red days, it looks like Rome is on fire, and everyone's freaking out. And they're like, well, this is it. This is the bear market. This is it. I should have listened. I should have sold. Then the wave of like, here comes Wall Street, here comes some article, here comes Trump tweeting something, here comes the Fed saying something good. Something happens to where the market goes, okay, I'm back, and we start to see another, up the mountain we go. So it's hard to trust the market with this sell-off, if you will. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I bought stocks yesterday. I bought in this devastation yesterday. I bought SoFi. One of the things I bought because I still believe that SoFi is completely undervalued. So let's talk about Robinhood real fast here. What is potentially going to happen? What we're looking at here, and SoFi too. What's going on with it. So Robinhood right now is in this new price range with revenue. These last three quarterlies that we've had since Q4 of last year, then going into this year here, we've been in right over $1 billion, under $1 billion, real close to $1 billion, and now we're in this level where it's like, can we get another $1 billion quarterly? And I'm going to be honest with you, I love Robinhood. I love it to death, and I think it's going to continue to do well. I do think that they need a Mama Jama big quarterly here. They need one to sustain this 130. People talk about Palantir being overpriced. The same could be said here about Robinhood. Now, obviously, I'm fully aware of everything they're transitioning into, they're doing. There's no doubt this is going to be a spectacular company. But, I look at Robinhood here and I go like, they got to really make up some space here, big, or investors aren't gonna, like, big money's not gonna stay here and wait for them to start reeling out, like, 1.5, 1.6 billion dollar quarterlies. Though even getting to 1.2 at this point, it looks like we're really far away. I have no doubt that Robinhood over time is going to get there. It's just at this point, it's kind of like this time limit, I feel like, where investors are like, okay, do I really want to pay $130 or $150 on a good day for Robinhood when I can go over here to SoFi land, buy that for $20, $30 right now, and probably Q4 here, they're going to start producing billion-dollar quarterlies, and that could be a $60 stock here by midsummer of 2026, maybe more. So I think that's where a lot of the arguing is going, and that's not to say that you're a bad person. It's just to say that's the reality of what's going on here. Investing is very cutthroat. I mean, it's very like, this is business. So I'm very curious to see, like, and I hope I'm wrong. Like, I hope Robinhood comes out with a great quarterly here. I mean, I hope they're back over $1 billion. I think a lot of us are like, we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, I do feel like this is still a very 4-year future in time here. Robinhood's going to be a pillar company, concrete company here in the future with, banking. I mean, obviously what SoFi and what Robinhood's doing here undoubtedly is working. They're not worried about brick and mortar stores. They're going after, just this online banking system that is working, bringing the bank to you on your phone, in your house, so you don't have to drive to these places, do this stuff. I mean, it's just, they're trying to make it so simple for people, and people want it. It's a huge issue for the other banks because, most of these other brick and mortar banks, these structures, these big financial institutions, if you want to go do something, loan, all that kind of stuff, they're like, well, you need to come in and sit down with a banker. Let's make an appointment. And SoFi especially is going, you don't need to do, what are you talking about? You don't need to do that. Just download our app. We'll contact us. We'll get something worked up right there. So that's a problem for these other big, fat banks out there. It's just, times are changing. This is the future, and this is what's so beautiful to watch for us as investors to get in now with SoFi, Robinhood, where we go okay, we can get in now, and they're really pushing into this momentum of this theory that people, they might just not go to banks anymore. I believe in a future that is very automated, 100%. And I mean, this even goes to car salesmen. And if you're a car salesman, I'm not trying to push against you by any means. I'm just saying, even real estate agents, I believe that a lot of things like this are just going to be, in the next decade, maybe a thing of the past. They're going to be a rarity because things are becoming so automated, where people are just losing contact with people. And SoFi and Robinhood, they see it, and they're pushing into it. So, staying on the conversation of Robinhood here, I'm curious to see what these quarterlies are going to be tomorrow. I don't think anybody's projecting that they're going to be bad. It's just a sense of how good are they going to be good enough to really sustain this price point of where Robinhood finds itself at right now. Is this going to be enough? So it's going to be interesting to say the least. But I mean, friends, I'm not saying this is a bad investment whatsoever. I think Robinhood obviously is going to continue to be a proven system of what they got going on here. But I am curious to see. I'm really saying it as a friendly gesture to Robinhood here, as someone who loves the stock. Is I'm just curious if these quarterlies aren't strong enough, will it hold this momentum? I don't know. I really don't know. It's gonna be interesting. And then SoFi, a lot of what I just said about Robinhood, I said it right there with SoFi. I think this is such an undervalued gem of a company right now. right now, this has been very interesting to see this pullback in the market here, because I've been looking at a lot of stocks and saying like, what is the worst this is dealing with right now? And it's very interesting because SoFi here is holding, and a lot of tech stocks have been damaged here lately. Obviously, the tech stocks have been gone after here, by the market, but SoFi still is holding this $29, even $30 position yesterday. It was at $30 there for a moment, and then it finally just kind of broke and slid down with the market. But still, that's not a huge drop. So that's telling us this is, if we go down to 28, this is pretty good. This is really interesting. That's why as much as I love Green Days, I love these roller coasters of like, oh my God, we're making all this money. But we need these days too to see, okay, what's a reality check? What's the reality check here of where are we sitting with a lot of these stocks? What's the bottom? What's the worst we can see with things right now? And looking at SoFi, this is pretty interesting that it's holding this high $29 position. So, because obviously after quarterlies came out, people are like, this is going back to 20, it's going back to 15. I was like, what are you talking about? This company is about to produce $1 billion quarterly, and their revenue, it's not only that, but their revenue is growing so substantially on top of each quarterly. This is what is really driving up price point too. I really do believe that we're going to start to see leapfrogging here in price range here with SoFi, where it's just going to be a matter of time before SoFi starts going, here's $5. Here's another $5. Here's $4, $5, $8, in a month, where we're just going to see extreme climbing. Now, that could take to Q4 getting here and producing over that $1 billion quarter. Think about it this way. Q4 that will come out here with SoFi, this is what's very appetizing about what's about to happen here. So Q3 here, we just saw $950 million. Okay. SoFi is doing over $100,000 on top of each quarterly right now at this point, essentially. So we should be if they continue this process, we should be well over $1 billion in Q4. So that is going to be just like, once they can put that $1 billion sign in front of their name, SoFi producing over $1 billion quarterly for Q4, wrapping up a phenomenal year in 2025. Man, that is going to get a lot of heads turning. That's going to be and think if you're in this stock, anywhere under these price points right now, it's going to be a good day for you. So, friends, listen, I'm going to wish all of you the best of luck. We'll see if this market can clean itself back up. Today was so devastating of a day. I'm very curious to see where we go from here, but I'm excited. Tom Lee, a lot of these big investors, they haven't been wrong yet this year. Obviously, they're just people. They can make wrong, bad decisions here. Not bad decisions, but, wrong, they don't always have to be right. But so far, a lot of them, Tom Lee especially, he has been pinpoint accurate, I can't speak right now, about what's going on this year in the market. And he is still calling for the S&P 500 and a lot of these tech stocks to have another run here by the end of this, here in November. He even said too, it could take later into November. So this may be the moment where we're just collecting the nuts like a squirrel here, and then, something's coming here. So, we'll see what happens. Friends, take care of yourself, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.